Well, the common questions: what is it? What caused it? Will I be cured?
The only certain thing you can say about it is that it is uncertain.
People have a great fear that they're going to bleed.
It is quite a rare condition that folk really don't know that much about.
ITP is a rare autoimmune bleeding disorder. The most common symptom is bruising, which can be very severe, multicoloured bruising, which covers large parts of the body. Nosebleeds are common, mouth blisters, and rarely gastrointestinal bleeding, very heavy periods. Brain hemorrhage is the rarest but most severe, obviously, and fatigue is quite common, although not recognised.
I reported to my GP mainly because I'd been feeling very run down and tired, fatigued for quite a long period of time, for probably 3 or 4 months. I had also been getting bruises on my arms, legs and torso, which were completely random.
Well, the symptoms vary very much from one patient to another, and the severity of those symptoms also varies. The bruising causes difficulties with people being seen with their bruises, certainly with children in schools. Parents worry very much and sometimes are aware that other parents are talking about them and they're being accused of abuse.
As soon as she saw the bruises, she immediately gave me an emergency blood test and said it could be something quite serious. She did mention leukemia at the time, but didn't want to worry me too much, I guess.
The biggest concerns are obviously, will I bleed to death? They worry about how they'll manage the symptoms and fold them into their daily lives, when to go to the doctor, when something is abnormal, and they actually need to seek help.
After 4 hours of tests, various blood tests and analysis, ITP was diagnosed.
Everyone's frightened of having a brain hemorrhage, that's the worst sort of bleeding. And then there's the hidden symptom of fatigue, which a lot of doctors say doesn't exist. The ITP specialists know it's there because they hear it so often, but in the general hospital, patients are often told it's nothing to do with their ITP.
Obviously, having to report to hospital once a week, certainly for quite a lot of the early part of my ITP experience, took up a lot of time. It took up a lot of my wife's time, having to drop me off to hospital, pick me up.
It can be difficult with work. Employers are not always sympathetic to having time off to keep going for hospital appointments, to have blood tests. Not sympathetic to fatigue, which they can't see and have to believe that the person really feels that.
Suddenly, when you're diagnosed with ITP, it becomes very important to be cautious about what you're taking, even with simple cold remedies, with painkillers. Certainly aspirin, or any product containing aspirin, is an absolute product to avoid for ITP sufferers, because aspirin, of course, does have an impact on the platelet count. We had to cancel 2 holidays at very short notice, for example, because my platelet levels fell. So I think we as a family and certainly I as an individual have learned not to plan too far in advance and don't take things too much for granted. I was prescribed steroids immediately. Luckily, my platelet count did continue to respond positively, but after that first week, I then suddenly realised just what the full extent of steroids and taking them would have on my daily life, my family's daily life, and even my own physiology. I could tell that quite a lot of things were starting to happen. You're alive and well in the middle of the night and early hours of the morning, but then come the afternoon, of course, the system is beginning to feel a little bit run down and tired from it. Another thing that became very apparent is that I would be eating a lot more. steroids have this impact, I'm afraid, that physically you just want to eat and eat a lot. And I gained 12 kilos in the first 2 years of my steroid encounter. Unfortunately, I've had steroids prescribed 4 times. Everybody will respond differently to the various treatments that are offered. But in my own case, I certainly wish I had had a different treatment much earlier. And I hope that I don't have to revisit steroids at any time.
When I founded the group in 1995, it was really just steroids and immunoglobulin were the major treatments. I think for very severe cases there were immunosuppressants, but now watch and wait is used a lot, particularly in children, because the side effects of the treatments are worse than the illness for some. And of course we have the new drugs, which are a new approach, and that's been a wonderful leap forward. ITP is a more common disease than haemophilia, and in a recent survey in Europe it was found that most people knew that haemophilia was a bleeding disorder, but nobody had heard of ITP.
There are a number of things with dentistry that and the drugs that dentists might use when giving treatment to us all that may clash or harm some of the treatments that we're being given to manage our ITP. Without wishing to in any way be negative about GPs, dentists, other health professionals, I, in my experience, certainly realise that they don't know very much about ITP. So it's very important that folk like dentists, like physiotherapists, like other health workers and carers understand what ITP is.
Our organisation has been chipping away at awareness ever since I started it, but this is our first campaign to really throw all we have at it in the month of September, but we hope it'll be an annual event and that ITP awareness will spread.